All right, Jay here with Coast to Coast Diesel Enthusiast again, trying to get you guys a decent camera angle while I'm actually doing the work. But this is such a damn tight area. That's like not even 2 inches across. That's tiny. So to get this damn thing up in there, this and that, and then to get a drill bit in there and get it, it's almost impossible. Anyway, it's probably easier if I just go ahead and keep knocking it out, because pretty much towards the end, doing some of the detail works, I probably would be better to put maybe this thing on a stand, and maybe you see a little bit of it, and then at the end, you know, you'd be off to the side like this, and then come back in there and take a look at what's going on in the port. You kind of can see a little bit better once I get up close. I can't put the, if I do it wrong with the light, it'll get so bright you can't see any damn thing, like the sun. But on this one here, little stuff like that, it doesn't mean much, but I come along and I knock that off. I polish that up a little bit with the lighter pressure on the bits there. It's, you know, I haven't gotten to the sandpaper yet, and I don't know that I will, but I might. I don't know, might. But I'm just knocking all the grooves out, and you can see, like I was saying, there's little imperfections all in here, and I try to get them, you know, because if I'm already here and doing what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to just make it as smooth as possible. But that scoop right there, that's my main focus right there on that top scoop. And then also right here, some of the little lines, I'm not even sure what the casting lines, whatever they'll call, those are there. I try to knock some of them out, but I don't want to dig into the concave of that swirl groove, whatever the hell it's called. And you can see right here that it remains consistent all the way down. An awesome ass pen here. It remains consistent down in there, and I kind of get it. You can't really see it, man, but there's a nice swoop in there. There's a really nice swoop in that one right there. That one's pretty badass. And that one there, being closer to the top of the valve, see the valve's here and all that stuff, but this is where the throat of the port blends into the top of the valve seat. So I want that to be absolutely as straight into that as I can. I don't want to overdo it to where that ends up becoming a lip. That's kind of moving backwards. But the whole idea of this thing basically becoming a big air twirly and this and that. Some of the other stuff in there, it's kind of hard to see. I definitely can't get you to see this while I'm doing the work, but I try to get up in there and knock some of that out. I don't like leaving corners and sharp spots, because that air flows better through a circular port than it does a rectangle port with flat sides. It just does. Air's kind of strange like that. So when I come in here and I come in with a bigger bit, I do open this up a little bit. That corner right there, I open that up a little bit, and then I come in here with a smaller bit. I don't have them out yet. I should have had them out for me in this video. But anyway, the little imperfections, like the bumps like that, little stuff like this, little stuff like that, little stuff like that. It takes a little bit of time, not that much, but it does take time. And then when I come back and I see a groove or whatever, not from a different size bit, I usually come back with a bigger bit and I hit that right in the middle, and it levels it out, and it ultimately makes the narrower parts right here, it makes them more round. Then it kind of takes some of that edge off and makes them more round, and I can see that being a benefit. Instead of having what I consider snag points and things like that, as my fingers right in the way, that stuff there in the corner, I don't like the way it looks. But if I can knock some of that out, and instead of that being a wall and that being a flat bottom there, if I can kind of blend them to where it's a little bit of a radius in that, that's a win-win. On to the next port. And again, I got to be careful what I do with the light, because it gets so bright you can't see nothing. But again, you see, I'm almost done, man. I've been at this crap for a while, but there's some imperfections. It gets kind of harder at night, so I got to watch what I'm doing, and I got to know when to quit, because then at some point I'm kind of going into this blind, because the light becomes so bright when it's dark in here that I'm basically porting the light, not the bowl. This guy, at some point it's like, hey man, you're moving backwards. It's like that. But notice that I keep a consistency on that edge right there. because I want that to hit that like a ramp. I want the air to come in. I don't want it to go back. Trim that off to where the air does a circle back and the air ends up going back that way, fighting the air that comes in. That's not what I want. This actually, if you know how a Venturi works, how the air pressure comes in, that creates a low point on top of the air being forced into that. That promotes a Venturi effect, a low pressure effect that's going to draw that air into the incoming air. So it kind of works together. That's why I didn't want to beat up with the design. I didn't want to get in there and start beating up on what Ford did. And so, well, I can get in there and just grind at things and change the way things are. Every one of these humps right here, that's still the factory height. All I've done is highlight what makes that form a scoop. That's my goal. Because it's not like, it's like a fan blade, like the pitch of a helicopter blade or whatever. Not the more of a scoop effect that has, and it has that lip right there. It's gonna redirect that air to go back into what's already pressurized. It's going to make it go into a twirl, you know, a crazy twirl, and I like that. Hard to see, man, but the little imperfections of those lines, that I have very little faith that knocking them out is going to improve flow or anything like that. But I try to get more of a scoop effect, because I do want to keep that ridge right there. I want to keep that the factory height. But I want to, and I've been able to get a little bit more of a circular radius type scoop in there. That way the air that comes down and it's up here, it flows right even from the scoop right down onto the top of that, to the top of that valve seat. You know, here's where the valves lift off and all that. But still, I want that to be an absolute perfect transition. And it's about half the port. If you look at it, this part's open. Might give you a better idea here. It's like the top of the port there, and this is the short-term radius here, and it starts to right about here. So I say half. It's probably about right, maybe a little further than half. But you notice that from there to here, I'm saying half. It's probably a little bit more than half. Probably actually more about right there. So maybe 65%, whatever, not of the whole circle there. They're focusing the redirection of that incoming air on that part right there. And that part right there. I gotta knock all this garbage off. That stuff drives the shit. It drives me crazy, but aggravating shit. But trying to keep. See, I can come back during the day and I take a look once I'm not so damn tired. On the days that I have time to dedicate to this, I can come back and all of those little tiny imperfections and this and that. Don't take that long. And I do this with an electronic drill versus the compressor and the compressed air and the die grind. I have all that shit, but that doesn't have nowhere near the torque at low RPM as a Milwaukee electronic drill that I just swap the batteries out. I can do it at night. I can do it early in the morning, not piss my neighbors off, not be too loud, not have the air going all day, this and that. I'm doing this with and I tried both. I like you know, there's a throttle on the drill. It's a Milwaukee drill. Things are beast. And if I burn the drill up, I don't give a damn. Drill costs $400 for 2 different kinds of drills, couple batteries, whatever. Not. Kill Devil Diesel wants $6,000 for a set of port and polish heads, man, and a little bit of valve work. And I don't even know that they even upsize the valves. I'm going to try to get as crazy of a valve in there as I can. And the best heat transfer material I can. And if you know, what I can do with the guides, I'm not sure, because these look to me, there might be a guide in there buried in there, but I've done some research, and some of these heads, these seats, and those guides are induced into the head. Very little information that I've been able to find like 100% conclusion on. And I've talked to a lot of guys that do the machine work. There's a dude out in North Carolina that really knows his stuff. I like him probably the best. But I'm just going to keep nicking at it. Go over to the next one here. There's my intake ports. I got to get back to them things there, man. It's been about a month since I paid attention to them. I can go in there and knock some of that rust off, whatever not, but that is no big deal. But again, I'm getting pretty consistent with getting close to being real done and close to being done. you see that I still got some of that little stuff to get. It's going to be hard, almost impossible to show you guys as I'm doing the work, so you can see it, okay, as the work's being performed, but then to have the damn phone right in the way and I'm knocking the hell out of it with the, you know, the drill and this, that, it just doesn't make any sense. But I can come back and show you a video of, you know, okay, well, you got the drill bit going, you hear some grinding, and I'm using my toothbrush and pulling one of my toothbrushes there, not my main one, but my toothbrush there to pull all the particles and stuff out to keep it clean so I can see what I'm doing. And then I come back in there and I can show you the after effect. You know, you guys can get a pretty good idea. You know, the short-term radius is this and that, kind of, unless it gets too bright. And I've been on that right there while I'm talking about it. There's been a pretty good snag point right there. I tried to level that out too, because it's just some of that just was real caked up. On to the next one. On to the next one. The corner ones, that one and this one here, these corner ones are different. The runners are all a little bit different, but there's a major difference in the distance on these ports here. Try not to get in the way, man. But the distance from here to here, the whole intake runner is different. The distance on the roof and the floor, those are different. The bowls are kind of the same. There's a few things different here with some of the flat spots we were talking about in one of the earlier videos. Some of the flat spots are here, some of them are here, some of them are up here, whatever not. But this part of this, the, you know, port and the bowl, this part to kind of about there, I said 65%, so maybe 35%, 35-40% is absolute dedicated to the final swirl, you know, the ramp swirl scoop design of this helical intake port. And I can get in there, you'll see. I'm gonna get in there and knock some of that out. I'm trying not to get too crazy. I just want to leave it consistent. I want to leave that scoop there. I want to leave the height of that factory groove right there, and I don't want to take too much off of that wall. If you can see, this is actually a good example. See how this wall comes in at an angle and then goes up? Look at this one. See how that wall is much straighter? It's hard to see. That wall is much straighter, doesn't have the over and then up. This just goes kind of straight up. And this here, then down to the third one. It's kind of the same way. That wall, it's straight up. Bam. Now down here at the other one, just the end. You see how it's a little bit different shaped? Might not look like much, but there's a little bit of curve there, man. So they're doing something with these end ports. I'm not sure if it's the end and that's just how compressed air gets to it, whatever not. I'll know more about that once I actually get them flowed, but this is my guess of, like, because you can see it. There's an absolute curve there where the other ones are completely straight just about. So I don't really mess with that too much. I do think that I do think there's a benefit of that being a little bit of a radius to it, but I'm not going to dig into it so much without absolute conclusion. But I do want to open this up right here, the roof. That's just what the helical port comes in. It kind of squeezes that air from the height and all that stuff down into this area right here, forces it down, and it goes into there because the valve here stops everything and all that stuff. There's valve, but it hits that valve and it stays in there as it's compressed. You know, however long, it's microseconds, I'm sure. But it gives it enough time to where the grooves of this stuff here, they absolutely dictate what that air is going to do. Once being compressed and kind of just being there compressed is one thing. Once that valve starts to lift off this seat, that's when that air starts to take advantage of the opportunity to escape. And the most velocity actually occurs up here. But once that valve, it's kind of like a closed door. Like if you ever been in a hotel room on a beach, whatever not, and you close the sliding glass door, as you close the sliding glass door, the more you got the door closed, the higher the velocity of the wind is. But ultimately, if you want to air that room out, you open the door all the way up. It might not be such a high speed velocity, but you get a ton more air through there. But if you want to speed the air up, you close the door a little bit. So to kind of give you a reference, that's how the velocity works when the valve is barely lifted off of that seat. That's the highest velocity point. And man, it's just it's a microsecond that things are open. Same thing with pulse width. That's why all that stuff's got to work in synchronization with each other. But as it's lifting, man, the valve, I'm lost. The velocity picks up, and it comes out here. Damn, it's hard to see because it's damn rusted. But the back, what comes out the backside, most of it comes out this right here. That's why it's kind of coming in, and most of that air comes out right in here. But it does get evenly spread through there. It comes out through the entire valve. The parts that come out here hit the back of that wall. Well, that back of the wall gives it that cylindrical shape, and then the highest velocity point is here. It basically creates an invisible tornado right here, and that thing right there where your injector comes out, it just gives you a quick shot of diesel fuel so freaking heavy and dirty and this and that. It's nothing like gasoline. If you put your hands in a 5-gallon bucket of gasoline and pulled your hand out, it would start to feel cold because the gas would evaporate. If you did that with gasoline, with fuel, I mean, your damn hand would stay oily all damn day. Diesel's a totally different animal. So they keep all that, they keep all the diesel out of this crap. They say, well, let's put it in the combustion chamber directly, and that's a good idea. But what really helps with the efficiency of atomization of that is the cylinder. I mean, if I just dug this out and said, man, I just want absolute crazy amounts of air to go in there, but it doesn't do any swirling, then you're going to cram your combustion chamber full of air, but it's going to have no effect on whipping that atomization up. The fuel that comes out of there, it just hits the top of that injector real quick for a micro pulse width and all that stuff. But the tornado effect, that's what really, it's like a vacuum, of course, but it's like a pressure. But how do I explain it, man? When the fuel comes out of that damn tip right there, it's got to have that swirl in there to kind of rip it to pieces. If it just came out into just, a bunch of air that was standing in a pocket of air, not moving, just being dormant, it wouldn't have the effect of mixing the fuel. So the mixture comes from the injector with the what's going on in the port and the velocity and all that stuff. But the shape of that forming the tornado effect right in there with the direct injection, that's where you get your efficiency. My main goal is to kind of get this thing to cool down a little bit. I don't want to overheat my damn engine pulling heavy stuff no more. And these 7.3s are great, but they don't really have a high tow rating, so you got to be careful about that. But you can make some decent power with them, and the tuning's come a long way. But ultimately, at some point, you have to break the physical crest of the factory engineering to get a different outcome of air to fuel ratio. Because you can injector all you want, and then you're basically just cooking things. That's not, I don't see that to be there's a lot of people that make power, and my truck's been running for 5,800,000 years, 10,100,000 billion or whatever that one lady said. That's funny as hell. I don't want to do it like that, man. I'm an AC guy. I say put some damn air in there. Air and fuel. That is the best mixture. Not just a little bit of air, fuel. No. I want air and fuel. I want as much air, because it ain't no damn problem. Everybody will say injectors, man. I went with 180 diesel, what is it? Holders Premium Diesel, 180cc, 80% nozzles. That's kind of big for a heavy tow rig, but I can tune that down in pulse width and all that stuff. I'm not worried about that. But I do want more air. That's my whole damn mission, all this port work and showing you guys. And maybe I can get you guys and gals, maybe I can get you to inspired enough to kind of maybe do it yourself if you're at the point where you got your heads off or are going to take your heads off. It'd probably save you a couple $1,000, man. I mean, probably up in the $3,000 or $4,000 range as far as, well, Kill Devil, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not picking on Kill Devil. I like their stuff. I got some other stuff. I don't have a set of their heads. I'm trying to not pay $6,000 for a set of ported heads. But I think somebody that's got common sense, patience, the right amount of tools, and a pretty firm understanding of what we got going on with us, that they can save themselves a lot of money. That's where I'm at with that. So anyway, I'm gonna get going. I'll try to record some of the stuff. I just keep knocking the crap out of my camera. But I'm just going back today now that I got a lot better vision. You'll see it. You'll see later. I'm gonna knock out some of the dumb stuff that it just gets impossible when it's so dark. The light becomes so bright. It's almost like working into the sun directly. It's so bright that I'm porting light. I'm not even porting metal anymore. But anyway, that's a video. It's good grief. This YouTube video stuff takes forever to load. So if I've crossed the 20-minute mark, oh good grief, it'll be freaking Sunday morning before this damn thing loads up, man. But anyway, I'm gonna get back at it, Jay, with Coast to Coast Diesel Enthusiasts. 7.3 Powerstroke Turbo Diesel Helical intake ports. Doing my port work now, but I will probably, I've already come this far. I will probably put some sandpaper on the end of my drill there and come back and just, I know I can get this looking like glass. I've done it in a little part, you know, an inconspicuous part to see how the results, and this stuff will clean up like a mirror. And if I can get every one of the little grooves out and make it absolutely as smooth as possible, and there's nothing but air coming through there, and there's no fuel or diesel or anything to weigh that fuel down. It's actually condensed a little bit with the intercooler, but I'm gonna try to make these things as absolutely smooth as possible. Anyway, man, I don't want to keep going and talking. It is what it is, man. I try to get, and I'll try it again today. I'll try to get the camera in here so you guys can see what I'm doing as I'm doing it, but I don't have somebody to hold it and do this and that. I don't have that. It's just me and a camera stand and my doggy Bane right there, you know. Just I'm doing what I gotta do. But and I got some time off work, so I'm doing what I can do while I got the time to do it. Here we go though. Little crap like that. My goal is to get that crap out of there, man. Little stuff like again, just the imperfections, man. It takes a little time, doesn't take that long, but I go in there and knock that crap out. Anyway, 22 minutes. Holy cow, it took a long time. I'm gonna get out of here, man. Coast to Coast Diesel Enthusiasts, you can do it, man. This is it's not impossible. Hope you guys have a great day, man. Take it easy, man.